SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
This show is brought to you by Sledge & Company Financial LLC. I'm Taylor Sledge, founder and CEO. At Sledge & Company, we help businesses and families do better with their money. Check us out on the web at sledgecompany.com. That's sledgecompany.com.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive.
Unsolicited piece of advice right out of the gate this morning. Alarm goes off. You're like, oh, it's Monday. I'm not quite ready to go yet. Here's your unsolicited advice. If you have time, pour that first cup of coffee, throw on a robe or sweatshirt or something. Maybe put on pants or shorts or, whatever you need to cover yourself. And go have that first cup of coffee on the back porch or on the front porch, rocking chair, lounge chair. Just get out. Whoo! That'll get the juices flowing this morning. It is nice outside this morning. What a way to start a week. This is mornings. Yeah. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. I wish someone had given me that advice at like 5:15 this morning. I just sat in the kitchen to eat breakfast and have my first cup of coffee. It absolutely would have been a back porch morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the start of a new week, the start of a new show this Monday morning, the 8th of September, clipping right along. In the month where usually it kind of transitions. It's our last warm month going into our first cool month, and we've got a mix of that throughout the course of the week. But we're glad to have you along. You heard that voice just a second ago, Lance Tolbert in the studio. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, it's stayed up a little bit last night and enjoyed it. Not late, but you could tell the weather was kind of flipping a little bit. So I think I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
And then got up this morning, walked outside to see if it was if it had held. And, man, what a beautiful, beautiful morning. Can't complain for this stuff. Great golf weather. So if you got a Monday off, get out there and enjoy it while you can.
A lot of golf courses closed on Monday, and it is going to warm up as the week goes along and kind of be downright hot again by the weekend. But, hey, it's all right. We get little bits and pieces of it. We will enjoy it along the way, and it's really going to be gorgeous across the entire state today. Fulton. Sunshine and clouds mixed with a high of 83 and winds out of the northeast at 5 to 10. That is a coolish breeze on an 83-degree day. Indianola, you're mainly sunny today, high of 84, winds out of the northeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour. 88 for a high in Petal with sunny skies. Same wind that Indianola's got out of the northeast at 5 to 10, and Loosedale 87 for your high down in the southeast corner of the state of Mississippi. 5 to 10 mile an hour per wind with sunny skies. I mean, that's good, Lance.
Hey, I do the weather for the Delta and Jackson, and when you see one line on your NOAA forecast, it's like sunny, 84, 5 mile an hour wind. Or you can see the paragraph when the weather is going to be inclement or there's some thunderstorms. The whole week is just like a sentence.
Yeah.
That's when you know you got great weather.
That's when it's going to be. Unless it's like middle of the summer and it's like
88,
sunny,
108,
hot, humid, 96, heat advisory.
And these are just awesome, though. Sunny, high near 86, east wind 5 miles an hour. I love those, man. It makes my job easier, and I'm much more excited because I love 80s. I really do. It's the best. Your little wind, 80 degrees. It gets you ready for the 60s and the 70s.
That's just right.
It's just right, yeah.
C-Spire text line is open to you. Best way for you to communicate with us, to connect with us, to talk, to throw stones, to ask questions, all of those things. C Spire text line 6018. Hold on. I just froze on the C Spire text. It's funny, that happens to me every so often, but like once every, 6 months or a year. 601-879-4395. Isn't that it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I do it all the time myself, so don't feel bad.
601-879-4395 if you want to jump on and be part of the conversation. You can do it like me. You can just put in your phone. You can save it as text line. If you ever need to send a message, just pop it right there. Hogman checking in. Hogman says he was glad that I was able to I get an eyewitness view of what is coming to Oxford this weekend. And he approved of my calling of the Arkansas game.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hogman.
That was a first right there. You know, for Arkansas State, they came in, got whooped in
They did.
Little Rock. How's that stadium held up over the years?
They've done some things to it. I mean, it's old, and like the concourses underneath are really, really tight. Like it's small and like needs updated concession stands and bathrooms and all that good stuff. But the stadium itself's fine. Updated the video boards along the way, and they've got nice press facility and some skyboxes, and just it feels old school football to me. It doesn't have some of the amenities that a new place has got, but it was pretty good on Saturday. It was. Johnny and Brandon says, he says, no worries, I got your back. I was in the truck, and I was calling out the number when you couldn't come up with it. That's what I love that. I do. Richard the First, also known as Richard the Lionheart. I don't believe we're related. Born on this day in 1157. King of England and a famed crusader. Must have been a tough life. He only lived to be 42.
Yeah, they didn't make it old.
Only made it till 1199. Another one that didn't make it very long. Lost way too soon. Legendary American country music singer, Patsy Cline. She was 31 when she passed away. Lived to 1932 to 1963. Crazy. I Fall to Pieces. I go walking after midnight. Born in Winchester, Virginia, Patsy Cline. Also born musician on this day, 1979, Alicia Beth Moore. You familiar with her music?
Oh, yeah.
She is more generally known as Pink. Global pop star, big voice. Super athletic, too. Like she does the stuff where she'll be like on a trapeze bar or like a big old long piece of silk, just like hanging above the crowd doing acrobatic stuff. Let's get this party started. Just Give Me a Reason, born in Abington Township, Pennsylvania. You're not a big Pink fan?
Oh, I like Pink, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. David Arquette, born on this day in 1971.
Crazy man.
Actor, director, former WCW professional wrestling champion.
That whole family's something.
Mm-hmm. So he's the son of the other Arquette?
Well, you got the one that's the guy that's the girl. I can't remember his name, but then you have the two sisters, Rosanna and Patricia, and then David, and then the family. Actually, I believe there was some acting chops there with the mother and the father as well. So, but yeah, he's a good one. He's crazy and funny. Trying to remember the movies that he's been in. Though. Yeah, it was more of a setup type thing. He's an entertainer. He's an actor. Yeah, but yeah. WWE and all that can be a little bit.
Married to Courtney Cox at one point.
Mm-hmm, yeah, he was involved in the theatrics, I would say, of wrestling more than actually wrestling.
Yeah, he was in the Scream series, like all the Scream movies.
Yeah, and he actually worked hard to be a wrestler. He's just not any good. He practiced hard.
Okay.
But he's a comedian type guy. I mean, he did it to, it was public appearance type stuff. But, yeah, he did train hard. He's just not very good at it.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, born on this day in 1981, an actor. You may remember him for his role as the younger brother on the television show Home Improvement, or you may recognize his voice. The voice of young Simba from The Lion King, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Bernie Sanders, born on this day, 1941. Senator from Vermont, two-time presidential candidate. He's still good and fiery.
And the king of mouth spickle.
Yeah. I mean, he was going off in the Senate Finance hearing on Thursday with RFK and HHS kind of on display. Bobby Kennedy had, gotten past telling Elizabeth Warren that you got $855,000 from Big Pharma. And then Bernie Sanders like, everybody in this room has gotten money from Big Pharma. Everybody. All of us.
And me.
Why are you throwing stones? We've all got it.
That's why he's Larry David, man. I mean, he's just the political version of Larry David.
Joan of Arc attacked Paris on this day in 1429 in a daring military move to support Charles VII of France. Michelangelo in 1504 unveiled his masterpiece, The Statue of David, in Florence's Piazza della Signoria. Just a big statue of a naked dude. St. Augustine, Florida, founded on this day in 1565, the oldest permanent European settlement in the United States. Pretty spot. We're back with you after this.
From the Venable Glass.
Want to know what's happening in Mississippi politics?
Yes.
You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Glad to be starting the week with you. It's Monday morning. This is Mornings with Richard Cross. Thanks for joining us. September the 8th, 2025. The Dutch surrendered New Amsterdam in 1664, a place that you perhaps now know as New York. I guess we would have taken it eventually if they hadn't surrendered it.
That's a good spot, yeah.
But
Good spot.
had some success.
The Dutch are probably pretty smart to give it up.
Although, I wouldn't mind having a leader that was Dutch instead of what they've got now.
Have a bunch of tulips, maybe.
Yeah, perhaps. Wouldn't that be pretty in Central Park in the spring? Catastrophic hurricane struck Galveston, Texas on this day in 1900, killing nearly 8,000 people. It's the deadliest natural disaster in United States history. 1935, this is the day when Senator Huey P. Long was assassinated in the Louisiana state capitol. 1957, Althea Gibson became the first black tennis player to win the U.S. National Championship. You know that now as the U.S. Open. Pretty significant day in presidential history. 1974, President Gerald Ford pardons Richard Nixon for any crimes during his presidency, a controversial and pivotal decision. 1986, it was the launch of the Oprah Winfrey Show, which became a cultural phenomenon over the next 25 years.
Was Stedman around then?
I think so.
He's been around the whole time, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's just kind of been along for the ride.
Chilling.
Never married, though,
It's a good gig for him.
I guess. 2022, you had the death of Queen Elizabeth II, ending a 70-year reign. That's a pretty good run for the Queen. Succeeded by King Charles III. Got news headlines for you. C-Spire text line 601-879-4395. Jason in Pearl says, Lance, it's a little cool up here.
Yeah. I'll take it, though, baby. He's at, Milwaukee? This dude's all over the United States of America. He's been out in L.A. working. He's Mississippian from Pearl. Ooh. Now he's at Milwaukee. I bet it is getting cool up here, Jason.
44 this morning in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. There you go.
That's near.
Thanks for the note, my friend.
Beautiful.
Bernie Sanders talks like the anteater on the Pink Panther cartoons.
There you go.
Did anybody talk on the Pink Panther cartoons?
Maybe him.
After deploying around 200 Mississippi National Guard troops to Washington, D.C., Governor Tate Reeves has responded to questions surrounding his decision not to place a military presence in Jackson. You know, questions like, Governor Reeves, you got a crime problem in Jackson. How dare you send National Guardsmen to the Capitol? Questions like that. So the governor responded. Actually, I saw this tweet the other day, and I responded to it. What was it? It doesn't matter what I said. Here's what he said. A ton of commenters, mostly out of state, on this platform keep asking why I have deployed the Mississippi National Guard to Washington and not the city of Jackson. I believe the bad inferences, bad intentions, and ignorance of the facts notwithstanding, it is a fair question and one that deserves an answer. So here goes. Short answer. Turns out the governor of Mississippi can walk and chew gum at the same time. Here's a more detailed response from a press release. Governor Reeves proud to support President Trump's effort to combat violence in D.C. The National Guard members there all volunteered to go. All are on federal orders and will remain so as long as it takes. Governor also continues to prioritize maintaining law and order throughout Mississippi, including significant investment in law enforcement in Jackson. He goes on to talk about the formation of the Capitol Police, the expansion of, not the formation, but the expansion of their responsibilities, the dropping of the murder rate, the homicide rate, with work still to do, and then compliments the new mayor, John Horn, and the contrast between him and his predecessor. Okay. It was a little snarky. There was a whole lot of fact in there. Just condescending enough to kind of grab the attention, but pretty good work there by the governor. The president is frustrated, but he's not in a spot where it seems like he can do a lot, at least not yet. President Trump has said he is not happy about the Russia-Ukraine war. I feel like we've heard that before. After Moscow hit Kiev with its largest drone attack since the war began, underscoring the administration's failure so far to reach a peace deal even after his meeting with Vladimir Putin last month. Which is an interesting way to say it, but Trump has claimed that he was going to get a peace deal done, and he has claimed that he has gotten deals done in all of the other countries, so maybe it's fair. It really ultimately is up to Putin and Zelensky to get a peace deal done, but you probably wouldn't want to write the story that way. Yesterday, after landing at Joint Base Andrews following a trip to the U.S. Open, he said, I'm not happy about the whole situation. This with the backdrop of Russia attacking on Ukraine and the notability of that because Moscow hit a Ukrainian government building for the first time since the war began. The attack did not suggest any signs of a slowdown by Putin in Moscow, even after Trump has increasingly shown his frustration. I don't know if it's going anywhere. Certainly not until we put enough pressure on them that it hurts to keep fighting. A former Alabama mayoral candidate accused of embezzlement was arrested here over the weekend. Anthony Britnell lost his bid for Florence mayor last month, and now he could lose his right to vote. He was arrested in Itawamba County on an active felony warrant. Itawamba County Sheriff's Department contacted the Florence Police Department late last week and informed the department that he was in their jurisdiction, placed under arrest without incident, being held at the Lauderdale County Detention Center. So he lost the mayor race in August. And, oh, by the way, if in Alabama you are found guilty of embezzlement, you automatically lose your right to vote and have to complete your sentence before you can start the process to restore your voting rights. Hey, this is cool. Canton High School's football team has a new name. The stadium now bears the name of four-time Super Bowl champion and alumnus of Canton High, L.C. Greenwood. Ceremony was held on Friday to celebrate the name change and to honor Greenwood's legacy. In 1991, Greenwood was named to the Super Bowl Silver Anniversary team. In 2007, he was named to the Pittsburgh Steelers all-time team. After his athletic career, Greenwood went into business, started several companies in coal, construction, engineering, and packaging. But then at 67 years old, Greenwood died from kidney failure. But now, Greenwood Stadium, L.C. Greenwood Stadium at Canton High School. You win 4 Super Bowls? That is an outstanding reason for your high school alma mater to honor you with your name on their stadium. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, 4 Super Bowls?
They don't just give those out.
Yeah, you got to be pretty good to do that. And then going on to business and opening up companies, and doesn't sound like easy work. Wasn't like he just said, "Yeah, I'm going to open up a storage place,
baseball card shop."
But yeah, I'm just going to resell something here. But
not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, I mean you got to. But I mean, it sounds like he was involved in some heavy duty stuff there after football too.
Finally, downtown Wiggins is getting a new look, thanks to $50,000 in grants helping local businesses repair, repaint, and revive storefronts. Leaders in the Stone County seat said upgrades are drawing more visitors and energy to the small city's 2-street business district. The Downtown Wiggins Facade Grant Program was created by the Stone County Economic Partnership with support from Mississippi Power. So it's a 50-50 grant program. If you are a business owner, you cover half the cost, with the partnership reimbursing up to $5,000 per project. An example, there was one business in Wiggins that repainted and did a new mural and changed out the doors, got the windows spiffed up. $14,000 in repairs and upgrades. Only cost her $9,000 though, as the partnership kicked in $5,000. Said it has already helped business. We got sports headlines, fair warning, coming up on the other side of this break. What a weekend it was on the gridiron and a whole lot more. Back with you right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Boy, she the sweetest thing you ever seen. The dog is howling, and the hound.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome to the show.
Time for your morning sports update, brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Boy, they had a busy weekend. All the action at the sportsbook, the Golden Moon Casino, action on the golf course at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. Remember, you can book your tee time there at dancingrabbitgolf.com, whichever you want to play, the Oaks or the Azaleas. A great time to get out and to play for a really affordable price. They got some promotions going on that you can take advantage of. Outstanding stuff at Dancing Rabbit. Let us go to the gridiron. Kewan Lacey ran for 138 yards and a touchdown to help number 20 Ole Miss beat Kentucky 30-23 on Saturday. That was the SEC opener for not only those two teams, but for the entire league. So first conference game of the year. The Rebels avenged a 20-17 loss from a year ago and have won 4 of the past 5 against Kentucky. The Wildcats have lost 8 consecutive conference games dating back to last season. Lacey and Quarterback Austin Simmons accounted for 376 of 457 total yards of offense. Simmons threw for 235, overcame a pair of early interceptions that resulted in a 10-0 deficit. Trey Wallace caught 4 passes for 117 yards for the Rebels, who had 4 explosive plays that went for 20 or more yards. Wallace hauled in a 55-yard strike from Simmons in the second quarter, leading to the first touchdown of the game for Ole Miss. So Ole Miss was down 10-0, outscored Kentucky 17-6 in the second quarter, took that lead into the locker room, and able to hold on at the end. It was not the best day for Austin Simmons. He was hurt late in the ball game, came out of the game, came back in to take a knee at the end, finished 13 of 24 for 235. Trey Wallace, the leading receiver, Kejuan Lacey, the leading rusher. Ole Miss back home this week to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks, who won big in Little Rock. Blake Shapen threw a 58-yard touchdown pass to Brennan Thompson with 30 seconds left to lift Mississippi State past number 12 Arizona State, 24-20 the final at Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville on Saturday night. You want to talk about a game that had its ups and downs.
That was a
the
good
Sun
one.
Devils scored 20 straight, taking lead with 1:38 to play on Jesus Gomez's 18-yard field goal. It was close. But it was close because Arizona State couldn't get into the end zone thanks to a defensive stand. It was the only real stand that Mississippi State made defensively in the second half. Mississippi State beat a top 15 conference opponent for the first time since 1991. In the first half, the Bulldogs outgained the Sun Devils 209-95 and led 17-0. Arizona State helped out by a penalty, actually a pair of penalties, kicked a field goal right before the half, made it 17-3. That momentum carried into the second half as until the final drive, Arizona State outgained Mississippi State 238-59 in the second half. 3 long touchdown passes for Blake Shapen. Finished 19 of 33 for 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. And,
Man, he was slinging darts. He was hitting bullseyes, buddy, let me tell you.
somebody did not like something I said or the way I said it.
So be it.
So be it.
Hey, man, I'll say.
What did I say?
That was a game. I was watching it in the first half. Going,
Whoa. Hold on a second. This schmuck is quibbling with me saying non-conference versus out-of-conference.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's worth an argument.
And therefore, I am I don't guess I can say that on the radio. What a schmuck. You are a schmuck. I don't even know. I was talking great about your Bulldogs. Clearly you're mad. Hey, do you know how mad you're going to be if you don't go to the game? You try to watch it on Saturday and you got to listen to me call the game? Who's laughing last now?
What in the world
what
is
was I
this
gonna
guy
say?
on this morning, man? It's a little off the top rope at 6 o'clock in the morning, but
Brennan
appreciate
Thompson,
it.
6 catches, $133, 2 touchdowns. Anthony Evans, huge game. 9 catches, 108, and a touchdown. Now, I will say this, the win for Mississippi State likely to be costly. In addition to the cost of replacing the goalpost they tore down after the ball game, Mississippi State will likely receive a $500,000 fine from the SEC under the amended league policy for field storing. Last May, the SEC ratcheted up penalties on schools whose fans storm the field or rush the court when they got away with an escalating fine system, now charging $500,000 per incident. The old system was $100,000 for the first offense, $250 for the next offense, $500 for the third, and so on. So, They have that old fine structure in place, but said it didn't solve the problem. People were just writing the check. But I guess, Lance, plenty of you at least begrudgingly smile as you write that $500,000 check.
Oh, I wouldn't have a problem with it, buddy. I mean, you had a huge win, top 15 opponent, hadn't beaten one of those out of conference or non-conference, whatever. I found it to be a great asset to that state team. They needed a big win. They played so much better last week. I got blown up twice. People saying, "Oh, you said they played cleaner." Yeah, they did. For the last 2 years, if you watched the game last week, State looked great. And they carried it over, man. That's the key. You carried it over with a good opponent. And, yeah, I wouldn't mind writing a check. That was a huge win for Mississippi State. They should be very happy with that.
Braylon Braxton threw 3 touchdown passes. Southern Miss defeated Jackson State 38-20 on Saturday night in Hattiesburg. Golden Eagles opened the scoring on Amir Foster's punt block. Zach Ruffin's 30-yard return 3 minutes into the game. Braxton followed with touchdown passes of 8 yards to Braylon Brown, 15 yards to Micah Davis, 10 yards to Kaden Morris for a 31-10 lead early in the fourth quarter. After a Jackson State field goal, Robert Briggs Jr. added a 15-yard touchdown run for the Golden Eagles, 38-13 at that point. You'd have one more score from JSU to wrap it all up.
And they wouldn't go away, man. They
no.
They would not give up. Something you got to say about the Tigers. They do not give up, man. Resilient team.
Braxton 20 of 32, 14 and 3 touchdowns. Jeffrey Pittman led the way on the ground, 10 carries for 71 yards. Robert Briggs had the only rushing touchdown. Let's see here.
And don't forget about Philly's Karen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and then the Polish, paving guy that snatches the hat at the U.S. Open from the kid, too. So there's some memorabilia thievery going on this weekend.
A lot of adults that aren't actually adults.
Well, the Karen lady, I think she's got a one-way ticket to England with that haircut. She looks like one of those, I hate America, I'm moving to England
like
types. Yeah, I think all of them that moved over there have the same haircut.
New AP Top 25, Ohio State number 1, Penn State 2, LSU 3. The top 3 stay unchanged. Oregon moves up 2 spots to number 4. Georgia checks in at 6. Texas stays put at 7. South Carolina drops a spot to number 11 in the AP. Oklahoma, big home win against Michigan, moves up 5 spots to number 13. Tennessee jumps 7 spots. All right, so Tennessee scored 72 on Saturday. But they were playing against air. What was it, East Tennessee State? I think that was their opponent. Anyway, big jump for them up to number 15. Texas A&M is at 16. Ole Miss is at 17. South Florida, previously unranked, beat the Florida Gators in Gainesville. They go to 18. Bama to 19. Auburn makes its poll debut at 24. Missouri at 25. Mississippi State now in the receiving votes category. They are, let's see, would be 26, 27, 28, 29,
we got 52
30,
votes.
31.
Yeah.
They would be 32 if the poll kept going. We'll keep an eye on that. Ole Miss hosting Arkansas this week. Mississippi State hosting Alcorn State this week. A lot of good stuff. You got Southern Miss at home with Appalachian State rolling into town. Yesterday in the U.S. Open, Alcaraz beat Sinner. Number 1 versus number 2. Once again, Alcaraz reclaims his place atop the sport with another win at the U.S. Open. It was his 6th Grand Slam title. In front of 24,000 fans, he broke Sinner in the opening game and dominated for much of the match. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Alcaraz, having previously won twice at Wimbledon in the French Open, joined Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and Mats Wilander as the only men to win multiple major titles on all 3 surfaces. Back after this.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Find out what's happening across your state. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Well, we've got to start all over. We got to start over. A big winner, two big winners, a lot of big winners, actually, on the Powerball drawing on Saturday night. Somebody had to go and mess it up, Lance. We couldn't just keep on going and try to keep growing that pot. Get to an all-time record. No. Two tickets purchased in Texas and Missouri won the record $1,787,000,000 jackpot. 5 Mississippi lottery tickets matched 4 of the 5 white balls, plus the red Powerball to win $50,000. Those happened in Byram, at Circle K, Ocean Springs, at Walmart, Oxford, and let's see here. Hold on. Let me read that better. A Double Quick in Brandon, Brando's Tobacco Store in Byram, Circle K in Ocean Springs, Walmart in Oxford, and Midway Food Mart in Moss Point. 2 of those tickets purchased had the $1 power play on them, so they doubled the prizes to $100,000. And so now it starts all over at $20 million. Because there were 2 winning tickets drawn for the jackpot, they will split that jackpot. It's about $480 million apiece before taxes, which is still not a bad way to go.
How do you get the? I guess they didn't do the random generator in order to get the same numbers. Yeah, that's amazing.
You get somebody that wrote down the exact numbers. That's a tough gig, though, isn't it? I mean, like, I get the whole, who cares, right? I mean, it's so much money, split it. But you're like, yeah, hold on now. I've been doing this for a long time. I finally win it. I got to split it in half? I suppose it's life-changing generational money regardless. The winning numbers were 11, 23, 44, 61, 62. Powerball of 17 with a power play multiplier of 2. Let's see, give you a couple of other winners. A past Christian woman, $100,000 on a ticket from Nico's XP in Pass Christian. Congratulations on that. By the way, the Mega Millions, it's kind of getting right now. We'll keep an eye on that jackpot as it grows. Mega Millions up to $358 million. Cash value $164.5. And the next jackpot drawing is tomorrow night, Tuesday, September 9th. That is your Mississippi Lottery update. Find them online at mslottery.com. Walter in Tupelo, you are literally the only person that I have ever heard say, take the annuity. Walter, why would I take the annuity? I'm genuinely interested.
I'd take the annuity if it was a small amount, and you would blow through it quickly. But, I mean, you're getting $500 million. I'm taking the cash, baby.
Why would I allow? Now, you get the entire amount of the jackpot over an extended period of time if you take the annuity. That's fine. But you're going to be able to pay yourself more in interest than they're going to pay you in interest by a lot. It's kind of the beauty of compound interest. Now, if you think you are a bad steward of money and you don't think you can control yourself and you're just going to blow through it all, then yeah, take the annuity. They'll cut you a new check for $30, $40 million every year. You can just start all over. But the math is such that if you're going to be disciplined with it, you are better off taking the lump sum, investing it, and allowing that amount to grow. Has a quick pick ticket ever won the Powerball or Mega Millions?
That's a good question.
Oh, man, I would assume so.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but it sounds like a legitimate question. I'd use the quick pick. Yeah, I wouldn't even imagine coming up with the numbers and getting them right. That'd be it's like, let the computer do it. But it maybe it's that, if you pick them yourself, you have a much better chance of winning. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I just have kind of always assumed that the answer is yes. But, I mean, there are people who, fill out their numbers. They play the exact same numbers over and over and over and think it's more likely that their numbers hit if they keep playing them. And then, can you imagine if you sometimes played numbers and sometimes did the quick pick? Yeah. Walter says, if you are going to be disciplined, biggest if ever, most Americans are not disciplined with money. Suppose. 6 o'clock hour in the books. We've got lots to get to with you this morning. There is, we've taken the next step in the Holly Springs Utilities saga. We'll give that to you when we come back for the start of the 7 o'clock hour. That is after the news. By the way, to answer a question, yes, Arizona State fell completely out of the top 25 after their loss to Mississippi State. Back with you after this.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
From the White House to your hometown, this is where you find out what's happening. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome to the 7 o'clock hour. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. Glad to have you along for the ride. Love to hear from you. C-Spire text line is open at 601-879-4395. Fast speeds win games. Right, Brennan Thompson? It's why C-Spire brings you fiber home internet, nationwide 5G wireless, and IT solutions that move as fast as your business. Even as fast as Brennan Thompson. Learn more at cspire.com. C-Spire, inspired by you. What were you saying, Lance?
I just said, dude can scoot, can he? Man. I mean, he just ran off from everybody every time they were trying to cover the dude. I mean, he just 2-3 steps every time, man. You got to love having a guy like that on your roster.
No doubt. He is not the biggest, but he makes up for it with blazing speed. Blazing speed like that from C-Spire. This hour of the show is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. You can find them online at that website, MWGEmployerServices.com. If you're struggling with HR, payroll, benefits, you're not alone. MWG Employer Services can help. They can build a custom plan just for you, for whatever your specific challenges are, and make sure that things move smoothly with your company. That's MWG Employer Services. So how long now, how many years now have we been talking about the Holly Springs public utility disaster? Folks in Marshall County and surrounding counties have been hampered by their electricity not working when it was supposed to work, which is all the time, other than the occasional outage, but they have had regular outages. And the Mississippi Public Service Commission has been working on this together for a while now. All of the public service commissioners have been involved with this. They voted unanimously last Thursday, to place Holly Springs Public Utility in receivership after years of complaints about prolonged power outages, millions of dollars of debt, and failing to heed warnings from the commission. By going into receivership, a Chancery Court judge will now determine the future of the utility's operations, including being placed for sale, becoming a cooperative model, or eminent domain, which means, I guess, being taken over by the state. It's time to turn the corner. You cannot kick the can down the road, said Northern District Commissioner Chris Brown. He is chair of the PSC. Now, Holly Springs officials were there. They were required to attend Thursday's meeting after a 75-page report commissioned by the PSC found the utility was plagued with numerous deficiencies, safety, financial shortfalls, and decades of neglect. The report did not sugarcoat the issue at all, saying that the billing system is in chaos and described the metering system as being in a death spiral. During the meeting's public comment portion, customers told of $600 to $800 monthly bills and also not receiving a bill for months at a time. Hasn't that been the case in Jackson with water bills for some people as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, the city owes like millions just on the zoo. Yeah, I mean, on water.
Public Service Commission detailed how the electric division of the utility does not adhere to basic safety functions such as trimming trees and general maintenance, not having lockout tags when equipment is broken. Customers said he's a retired electrical engineer, called the utility's safety practices gross negligence. The report shows that the utility has not completed an audit in several years. Now, the attorney for the Holly Springs Public Utility explained that HPSU is audited with the city, and Holly Springs has not had one since the early 2020s. Silver Point, a consulting company, conducted the investigation, found the utility is tens of millions of dollars in debt. It owes its electricity provider, TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority, more than $6 million. Plus another $3 million to contractors. The debt load is estimated to be between $20 and $30 million. So this was a show cause hearing. It lasted 5 hours, and the city admitted that it cannot provide adequate service to its 12,000 customers. However, the city's attorney said the utility is making small progress and would like more time to continue with those improvements. Customers laughed. Neither the mayor, the attorney, nor the general manager of the Holly Springs Public Utility knew much of the basics about the utility when they were asked, such as what they charge customers for a kilowatt hour of electricity, the average usage of a customer, or what TVA charges the utility for power. One customer told the commission that the wait period to restore electricity had gone from hours to days. I'll just give you a comparison. And this is not to cast aspersions. It's kind of how it is. So in our neighborhood, the front half of the neighborhood where we live in Oxford is on city power. And the back half of our neighborhood is with Northeast Electric Power Association. They're a co-op. And Lance, we've got a light pole kind of at the corner of our lot. It's right next to a magnolia tree. And on more occasions than one, an old squirrel has met its untimely death. Ooh. Kind of jumping up there by the transformer and tripping that breaker. It knocks the power off. And I don't think I've ever had to wait certainly not more than 2 hours, maybe not more than an hour, though. Like, power goes off, I'm like, oh, well, the safety breaker tripped up there, so it didn't blow up the transformer. Either report it online or call it, and boom, it gets fixed. That's how it's supposed to work.
It's hard to believe that you've had so many issues in one location for so long, and we're just now kind of getting to the bottom of it. Again, not trying to call anybody out, but it sounds like, something that would be in Haiti. I mean, you got 12,000 folks out there that need power, and people don't even know that work there what you're charging on a kilowatt or what you actually pay your provider for that. I mean, that's outrageous when the people running it can't even answer basic questions. Call Northeast Mississippi Power and ask them right now the same question. I did many times. I researched power and reciprocal systems and all this. They can tell you an answer in 2 seconds. So, I mean, I don't really know how you can do your job without knowing basic facts. Or where was the accountability model?
Another customer said that her husband she and her husband had retired to Holly Springs in 2020. And that living in the Holly Springs utilities coverage area has been a nightmare. It says it has financially broken us. During their 5 years as customers, she said they have had to replace all of their appliances due to power surges and weak currents. Commissioners voted to impose fines and penalties against the utility, as they are allowed to do because of Mississippi law. Commissioner Brown said, "We've never had to do this before. Never been here before. This is all history for the state of Mississippi in terms of the commission taking over a utility." Officials from Holly Springs didn't want to comment more beyond what was said in the hearing. Gene in Mendenhall says, "Sounds like a great place to sell generators." Yeah, I mean, if folks can afford them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great luxury. It's something I would love to have one day. Would love to have that. Know several people that have got generators. Power goes off, and you hear a generator firing up, and boom, you got power again. A casino is closing later this year in Tunica. WMC TV5 out of Memphis reporting that Sam's Town is closing later this year. Corporate spokesman confirmed the team members were informed on Thursday of last week that the casino will close on Monday, November 10th. And they blamed a decrease in market conditions in Tunica over the past few decades. In the release from Sam's Town, this was not an easy decision for our company. However, demand throughout the Northwest Mississippi market has declined significantly over the past 20 years, with several of Tunica's original casinos closing since 2014. Our decision to close Sam's Town as a result of these market conditions and follows our best efforts to adjust the business to address lower demand. These decisions are by far the most difficult we have to make as a company, and we regret that this was necessary. Tunica's Convention and Visitors Bureau president, the president of that organization, Webster Franklin, said that the local industry has been through highs and lows. He's confident the 5 remaining casinos will continue to fuel Tunica's tourism. He says, now we're seeing a downsizing in the market. I think our market's still very healthy. We've got 5 great casinos, 4 great corporations that operate here today. Lacey Reynolds, as a local business owner, said the local casino industry has been sliding down since its heyday in the 1990s. Says it was packed with outlet malls and shops, but now it's all kind of gone downhill. A lot of reasons that has happened in the Tunica area. We're back with you right after this.
From the Venable Glass.
Day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Lonely feeling deep inside. Find a corner where I can hide. Silent footsteps crowding me.
Coming up about 15 minutes from right now, we will be joined by Mike McCormick, president of the Mississippi Farm Bureau Federation. We'll talk with him about what's going on with farmers across the state, including sales tax for farm equipment, the big, beautiful bill's impact on Mississippi farmers, and get some of his thoughts on a new program that is going into place, a strategic plan put together by Commissioner Andy Gibson this past week called the Future of Agriculture Resiliency for Mississippi. That's the FARM program, if you need help with the acronym. Before we do that, though, you may or may not have seen this late last week. A hearing going on in Congress, and Tim Kaine was responding. This was a confirmation hearing. Let's see here. Confirmation hearing for Assistant Secretary of State Riley Barnes. And there was a statement made from Riley Barnes that said this: We are a nation founded on a powerful principle. And that powerful principle is that all men are created equal because our rights come from God, our Creator, not from our laws, not from our governments. Now, where would a nominee for Assistant Secretary of State get an idea like that? Well, he might go to the Declaration of Independence that begins like this: we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. You probably are fairly familiar with the Declaration of Independence. Now, Tim Kaine is the junior senator from Virginia. He's been in that role since 2013. Prior to that, he was the 70th governor of the state of Virginia from 2006 to 2010. Spent 4 years as the lieutenant governor in Virginia. And you may remember he was the vice presidential nominee alongside, he was the Democrat nominee for vice president in the 2016 election as the running mate for Hillary Clinton. So I want to play for you this clip from Tim Kaine, in which a sitting senator kind of threw cold water on the opening lines of the Declaration of Independence. Now, he did so in a lawyerly voice. He wasn't flamboyant. But listen to his words.
The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the Creator, that's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Shia law and targets Sunnis, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, and other religious minorities. And they do it because they believe that they understand what natural rights are from their Creator. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling.
Your interpretation of the Declaration of Independence is extremely troubling, Mr. Kaine. Again, it says it right there. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let me give you the words of Tim Kaine again. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our government is extremely troubling. That was the summary. But if I'm hearing Tim Kaine correctly, did he not just say there that Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton are the same as the Ayatollah of Iran?
More or less.
Here's the crazy thing about it. If you dig a little deeper, the idea that the Iranians believe that their rights come from their Creator and therefore they target religious minorities is actually false. Insomuch as Iran operates under the rule of the jurisprudent, under which the Ayatollah can even supersede religious law. And Kaine is trying to, what? Make the right akin to Iran? But he's just absolutely wrong on every single level? Thomas sends a picture of one of the guns that I believe he has made, in which on the stock of the gun he has engraved life, liberty, and the pursuit. Let's see here. Life, liberty, and property do not exist because we have made laws. Something along those lines. Having trouble reading that exactly. Is this not concerning to you that a United States senator would sit in a hearing, a confirmation hearing, and take the words of a man who borrowed the words directly from the Declaration of Independence for the United States and proclaim that our rights come from the Creator? And he goes, actually, that's just wrong.
He's a declaration denier. Maybe that's a new class of lefties.
It's pretty
disturbing.
Pretty disturbing.
Inalienable rights, that which is granted you from God. So he doesn't believe in that. He believes in the power of man. He believes that man is going to grant you all these things, such as, if you can't or don't want to go work, we'll give you a job. You don't have to actually work. We'll just give you some money. Or if you don't have this, we'll give it to you. In other words, let's continue the nanny state because you got to have us. These rights aren't granted to you by God. We give you those.
The foundation of the United States is a foundation based on faith and based on religious freedom. Paul and Hernando says, question, does he believe in God? Well, reportedly, Tim Kaine is a devout Catholic. Now, we are sometimes faced with, I can't hear what you're saying because I see what you're doing. Like your words are so loud, I can't hear what you're saying. I don't know. We got a lot of disconcerting stuff that's happening in Washington, D.C.
Well, you got the far, far left, and that pendulum is swinging way off to the left.
Well, it is, and it has pushed more and more people, whether they want to or not, toward the middle.
Well, and we have one of our listeners just said, Democrats hate America. I disagree. I think that there are plenty that love America, just like the mayor down there in Maryland or governor, inviting Trump in to come clean it up. He's a Democrat. Mm-hmm. A lot of Democrats love America. It's not fair to lump everybody in that, but yeah, the far left, it's a different world out there today.
Well, I mean, you've heard me say many times, 1992 Bill Clinton. The Bill Clinton that ran for president and won in 1992 following George Herbert Walker Bush.
I did not buy property at Whitewater.
He would be a Republican today. The things that Bill Clinton believed in 1992 would be more akin to today's Republican Party, more in line with Donald Trump than where the left of the Democrat Party is today. Now, Bill Clinton obviously has gone farther to the left over time and would never, ever, ever consider being a Republican. But the version of Bill Clinton that was elected president, way closer to where the Republican Party is today than where the Democrat Party is today. Cece in Senatobia says they hate America as it is. They would rewrite the Constitution today if they could. Somebody said agreed, and Reagan would be called a rhino by the modern GOP. Certainly by the far right. We're back after this.
Happening here in the state.
Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Good morning, everybody. Time to wake up.
Time to shine!
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
I was only 17 back then, but it seems like I knew more than I do now. I can't say he didn't tell me.
Your team has you covered on the field. C Spire has you covered everywhere else with the best technology for home, work, and on the go. Backed by local 24/7 customer support. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. You can join us on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. That's 601-879-4395. Happy to welcome in our first guest this morning. He is the president of the Mississippi Farm Bureau Federation, Mr. Mike McCormick. Mike, always a pleasure to be with you. Thanks so much for coming in studio this morning.
Well, thank you for having me. Good to be here.
All right, did you take in some football or did you find a dove field this weekend?
Well, neither one. There was some dove hunting going on my place, but being Farm Bureau president is a full-time job, to say the least. So when I get a chance to go home, I go home to farm, and that's what we did this past weekend.
There you go. How are crops looking, not just for you, but for farmers that you're talking to across the state of Mississippi?
I think it's a mixed bag. In places, it's above average crop in the north part of the state where you're at, and a little north, it's got way too wet for too long, and those guys are going to struggle getting a crop out. It's going to make a long harvest season this year, and it's just too early to tell for some of that. But overall, over the state, I think it's an average to just a little bit above average crop.
All right. That's not necessarily good news, considering some of the issues that some farmers are dealing with, really that all farmers are dealing with. And that's part of what we want to talk about this morning, but also perhaps some things that are good news for farmers. So let's go big picture for a second. I mean, you and I have talked about this before. Certainly farmers are talking about the fact that input prices have just spiraled out of control. It gets to a point where it makes it hard to make a living. And we've talked with Secretary Gibson and others about the fact that there are a lot of folks that have just said that's enough. I've hung it up. Maybe they didn't even farm this year, and others that may be facing that decision in years to come. Are there stories that you're hearing to the contrary? Are there any farmers out there that are telling a better story than the one that we're hearing so commonly?
So, yes, the livestock sector is probably experiencing the best times in the history of the industry, but it's because it was so bad for so long. The national cow herd is down to historic lows, so that's why you're seeing the prices of steaks and beef in the grocery store be so high. But it gives the cattle farmers a chance to update some things on their farms, like I'm doing, and make a little money to put back for the lean years. Back to the row crop side of things, it's not a lot of positive going on out there. Just like you said, it's a lot of the inflation. What we're selling crops for just doesn't match what we're having to put into that crop to grow it. So it's pretty tough times out there in our row crop sector.
And isn't it really across the board when you look at costs related to inputs, whether it's land costs or chemical costs or fertilizer costs or seed costs or equipment costs? I mean, everything is just up. I mean, how much? 100% in a lot of cases, sometimes more?
Yes, it's all up, and all of it plays a factor from the smallest input to the largest input. All of it's causing the issues of what the farmers got to do, and they can only cut back so much for so long, and then that catches up with you as well. So if you're rolling over debt from last year's crop and the year before that, the lending institutions can only go so long. Last year was probably the first time since the 1980s that we had the banks come in and say, lending institutions, and say, this isn't working, and we're seeing the financials and the balance sheets, and it doesn't look good. We got to do something. So very proud that Farm Bureau and others talked to our leadership in Washington. Congressman Trent Kelly took the lead and dropped a bill that eventually wound up with some aid for farmers all across the United States, but certainly here in Mississippi. And we built a bridge to get to this big, beautiful bill and the parts of it that was a farm bill. And we're very fortunate to have some things in that that will help moving forward. But we're probably going to have another bridge, because that part of the bill won't see the levels of funding coming back to the farmers till this time next year or a little bit later. So trying to help the farmers get this interest clock stopped on a lot of debt that they created this year and in previous years is going to be something we're going to work on hard moving forward.
So, you mentioned that there were elements of the Farm Bill that were part of the one big beautiful bill. Mm-hmm. There's a lot there, right? I mean, if you want to go through and try and figure out everything that is in it, you're going to be there for a while. There certainly are people that have done that, but we talked with Cindy Hyde-Smith not too terribly long ago and have asked her a number of times about the Farm Bill as we have always known it. But we also know that the Farm Bill has a whole lot in it that is not just for farmers, because you roll a lot of benefits programs, all of the SNAP stuff, and child nutrition falls under that as well. She indicated the last time we talked that it might be easier to get a Farm Bill done because there were some things that normally would be included in the Farm Bill that were in the one big beautiful bill. So let's start there in terms of the BBB. What's there that specifically helps farmers in Mississippi?
Well, let's go back to what you mentioned. The Farm Bill is named the Farm Bill, but less than 20% of that whole bill affects farmers. Over 80% of it is for other thing outside of the farm sector. So not a lot in there for farming, but what's in there is very important for us. In the big beautiful bill, I think what I could say about it is it creates certainty in an uncertain market. Farmers have some of the riskiest business plans of any industry out there. We don't control the weather. We don't control the inputs. We don't control what we sell our crops for. And we don't control the government regulations that govern the farmers in the way we do things. So all of that is very unpredictable that we work on every single year. And the big beautiful bill, mainly through updates to crop insurance, that dictates what farmers can pay into and what they can get out of it, ARC and PLC payments. Those were up to match the inflation that's gone wild over the last several years, to make it to where there is a floor, there is a safety net there for farmers that they can bail themselves out of if they take advantage of that.
You mentioned a second ago, though, rolling debt from year to year, mm-hmm. and I guess in a perfect world, if you have a great year and you make extra money, you do what you were talking about a second ago. You try to put some away for the future. But in a year where things aren't good and you find yourself in the red and you have to roll that forward toward the previous crop, it puts you in a spot that it's almost a cycle that's impossible to get out of. How do you do that?
Well, you got to have some big crops, and you've got to have probably some bad luck on farmers somewhere else around the world. So maybe the crops didn't grow as well in South America or in other states, and we were able to get some prices up to where they can put some money back and try to dig themselves out of the hole they're in.
One of the things that we have heard discussed a lot lately is foreign land ownership. Yes. And, whether it's South America or China or other parts of the world where you have investors that are coming in and are buying up land. And there's some places that have said we're going to stop that. We're not going to let foreign investors buy land, especially if they're adversaries of the United States. In Arkansas, they've even talked about clawing back some previous land purchases. I'm still not sure exactly how that works. What about here in Mississippi? We know there's been a lot of foreign land investment in Mississippi, and that's part of what's affected prices.
Well, I certainly think that there's some foreign ownership issues in the state of Mississippi. The legislature did pass something last year that I think strengthened our ability to control that. To some, it's not enough. To others, they have a different story. So it just depends on who you're declaring is the foreign ownership. It's a complicated issue. It's a complicated issue of how it gets reported. of who those people are. I think it's more of a federal issue to get stopped than it is a state issue to get stopped, and I applaud the Trump administration on looking into that to try to get it done. I think we're incentivizing foreign ownership through some of our energy projects. Those are guaranteed certain types of return on investments, and those probably need to get stopped. But I think it's short-sighted just to say this is about regulating my farmland when we need to be worried about them owning warehouses and houses and any type property here in the United States close to military bases or things that affect our national security.
We're going to take a quick time out. We'll continue with Mike McCormick, and on the other side of this break, we will talk about the future of agriculture resiliency for Mississippi, the strategic plan that Commissioner Andy Gibson announced this past week. What does that mean? What does it entail? We'll get to that on the other side of the break. Visiting with Mike McCormick, president of the Mississippi Farm Bureau Federation. We're back with you right after this on Mornings with Richard Cross.
Start your day right.
Good morning, America. How are you?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Come on, so
Good to be with you this morning. It's MRC on SuperTalk Mississippi. Mike McCormick is my guest, president of the Mississippi Farm Bureau Federation. In just a second, we'll get to the farm strategic plan that came out last week. But, Mike, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the effect that tariffs are having on farmers. We get a message from Thomas who says it's hard to sell soybeans when an unnecessary trade war has caused the biggest importer of U.S. crops to not buy any and go to Brazil instead. I suppose that message is at least in part accurate. So what about tariffs? We know that this is a complicated issue. It's one that from the outset, President Trump was going to create some temporary pain, but it was part of a longer-term strategy. Where's Farm Bureau? Where are you with this when you look at the tariff conversation and kind of what we are going through economically as a country?
Well, tariffs are bad for farmers. There's no question about it. And China's not buying any farm products right now. So that's not a good thing for the market, and that's making them a major impact on why the farmers aren't being able to see a profit. We know that the trade deals in the past have not been fair to the United States, and especially on ag deals. And I think our farmers are all, or most of them, are patiently awaiting some resolutions to some of this uncertainty that's going on in the trade world, and we need to get that fixed sooner than later. I can tell you we had Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins here in the Farm Bureau building for a whole day almost about a week ago, and she is an amazing lady. She's fighting for us. She understands the issues behind the scenes. I got a chance to talk to her one-on-one, and she gets it. She understands it, and I believe wholeheartedly they want to get this fixed. And we're looking for a quick resolution because farmers are hurting. Whether it'll come back or not, I don't know. China's developed a lot of interest down in Brazil and across the globe, trying to get somewhere else to get their ag products from. So we'll see how it goes. But we're hopeful that we get to a finish line sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and they're not investing in Brazil and South America out of the goodness of their heart. I mean, it's all about self-sustaining and trying to cut that out.
That's correct.
It's a little scary stuff. All right, so this farm plan, the future of agriculture resiliency for Mississippi. What can you tell us about this plan that Commissioner Gibson announced last week?
Well, not a lot right now. I think he's going through the process of having some listening sessions. He puts a committee together of farm leaders around Mississippi through different ag sectors. We have a seat on the committee. I put our policy development coordinator on the committee, and I think they have plans of having that session, and then they're going to go around the state and hear what farmers are saying in different areas of the state. Mississippi's a big, diverse state, so things grow differently, and different things are produced in different parts of the state. So I applaud him for looking into this. I think it's he's got plans of moving up and not being ag commissioner, and I think he wants to leave a legacy and a strategic plan in place at the Department of Agriculture that can be worked on to help the farmers of the state. So right now, don't know a lot about, other than there's a lot of listening, a lot of policy development that'll have to happen over this next year.
It's interesting hearing you talking about the diversity of farming in Mississippi. I feel like because of our history, when people hear farming in Mississippi, they think cotton, corn, soybeans, and we forget that there's a massive sweet potato industry and a poultry industry and a livestock industry and a timber industry, and all of these things fall under the guise of farming. And you mentioned that the livestock industry is in a good place, but everybody's got their own unique set of problems, which makes it fairly complicated.
Yeah, and we've got blueberries and vegetables down on the coast, and watermelons and forestry products that are really struggling right now to make any money with whatsoever. So there's a lot of issues out there that encompasses a big ag sector, which makes up Mississippi's #1 industry. So a lot of people will have to come together to give some input, and I guess a plan will be developed on how you attack that.
Sounds like a lot of work that's going to take somebody a whole lot smarter than me to try and figure it out. And we are left waiting, and that's the hardest part, right? I mean, you're having to ask and encourage farmers to be patient and say that help is on the way, but we're hopeful that help's on the way, right?
Well, it's good to have a Farm Bureau out there fighting for you every day, so the farmers can go do what they do best. They can go farm, and we'll handle the ag policy parts, and we'll take the wins where we can get them, and keep fighting for the ones that we need to get across the finish line.
Hopefully those wins are on the way sooner rather than later. Mike McCormick, President, Mississippi Farm Bureau Federation. Always a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you for having me.
8 o'clock hour is on the way. We've got the news coming up next, both from Fox News and from the SuperTalk Mississippi news team. JT Mitchell will join us later on, about half an hour from right now in the 8 o'clock hour. Glad to have you along for the ride on this Monday morning, the 8th of September, 2025. We're back with the final hour after this.
Good morning to you there.
Okay, up and at 'em. Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Grady mama, where you been so long? You been hiding out, I know that's true. Grady mama, sure need you.
Welcome again. This is the 8 o'clock hour of the Monday edition. Start of a new week, mornings with Richard Cross. Glad to be with you. Lance Tolbert is in studio. My thanks to Mike McCormick for joining us this morning. Mike, a good man, does good work with Mississippi Farm Bureau, loves Mississippi dearly, loves the farm industry dearly, and it's not just something that he works on behalf of. He's a farmer himself. Family's been in farming for a long time, and didn't really pull any punches either. Very, very direct with some of the issues that farmers are facing. Mike in Gulfport reminded me that I needed to not forget the catfish industry. Absolutely, Mike. Thank you for that. Catfish industry, huge part of the farm industry in Mississippi. We get a message from somebody that works in the poultry industry and says that one of the issues that he's facing is with chicken house insurance. Says that over the last 6 years, his chicken house insurance has gone from $17,000 to $40,000. those premiums are tough. And I'm sure there are a lot of reasons for that, but I would not begin to try to tell you what the reasons are because that's your industry, not mine. I don't know enough about that. But it's also probably not unique to the poultry industry. I mean, I feel like insurance premiums have gone up across the board when you're talking about replacement costs and rising costs, and I don't know. But just another one of the areas where it's a struggle. Marshall and Terry says, I feel people hear the words in the debate, farm subsidies, cost to consumers for products, agricultural exports to other countries, and they question why should we subsidize the agricultural industry where the product is shipped overseas while cost for the consumers continues to rise. And there's no doubt that a lot of the product is shipped overseas to foreign investors. Or not investors, but foreign buyers, because there's need. But I mean, it's been the way of the agricultural industry in the United States for a long time. You sell your product where you're able to sell it. You need buyers for the product, but it's not like the entirety of that product is going overseas. There's a lot of it that's staying here in the United States as well, and I mean, I understand the question on, why is the farming industry subsidized, but other industries are not? Why should my tax dollars be going to subsidies? And I mean, isn't it as simple as the fact that it's essential?
It's a strategic resource.
And our ability to produce domestically is tied to national security as well. I understand, though, there are lots of significant questions that are out there related to the farm industry. It's a difficult time. Certainly it is. You can join the conversation as well on the C Spire text line at 601-879-4395. 601-879-4395. Price says that his poultry house insurance went up $2,700 for next year to $17,500. When he started in 2007, it was $5,600. And that's tough, right? I mean, that's triple over the course of...
Well, it has something to do, right, with the chicken disease. Well, we had a recent...
Yeah.
I would imagine that
when you have massive payouts from insurance companies, rates go up.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in an insurance family, so it's...
Yeah.
It is just the way it works. Now, we can debate that all day long, but the reality is, the chicken disease took out a lot of chickens. And as you said, claims are going to be massive. And premiums are going to go up. Hopefully they stabilize, but this isn't the world where we've seen a lot of stability in prices.
Yeah. Kevin in Monticello says, I specialize in poultry farm appraisals. Wow. That is a significant specialty. It's amazing how many different types of jobs there are out there. I mean, even within an industry. It says he keeps up with income and expenses all the time. Farmers need the state to do an insurance program like in Louisiana. For people south of I-10 because nobody else will write insurance there. Poultry is the biggest economy in the state. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you checking in. Thursday, I believe it was, you had hearing in front of the Senate Finance Committee in which Bobby Kennedy was sitting at the table and was fairly defensive and was fairly combative. And if you... I mean, I guess depending on how your X feed is curated, you got moments where he was going after senators and everybody was like, oh, look at Bobby Kennedy go. And if maybe it's curated in a different way, you came away thinking that he didn't know what he was talking about. But it was perhaps the most combative congressional hearing of this calendar year, appearing in front of the Senate Finance Committee amid a growing storm engulfing his department, including the recent firing of the head of the CDC, who had been confirmed less than a month earlier. Folks are concerned about a series of moves that could limit vaccine access and the canceling of $500 million in research into mRNA vaccines. I'm actually going to give credit to CNN. They wrote a story where they had 5 takeaways from the hearing itself, and it was, I mean, like most things, it probably was written to kind of pit Bobby Kennedy in a bad light, but I thought it was fairly balanced as well. Here were the 5 takeaways from Aaron Blake, the writer at CNN. Number 1, senators tried to pit Kennedy against Trump. So in the recent announcements about getting rid of vaccines, not approving certain vaccines, not encouraging certain vaccines, they are trying to put him in opposition to the president, who has talked openly about the fact that Operation Warp Speed and the COVID vaccines were a good thing. And the kind of lead questioner on this particular topic was Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, who is a doctor and a guy that was crucial to Kennedy winning his confirmation to be Secretary of HHS. Louisiana Republican, who, by the way, is facing a primary challenger, began by asking Kennedy whether Trump deserved a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed. Kennedy agreed that he did. And then Cassidy followed it up with, well, you've been critical of the vaccines that Operation Warp Speed produced. You're trying to strip access to them, and you're canceling those $500 million in contracts for development of mRNA vaccines, like the ones produced by Operation Warp Speed. And Cassidy summed it up with, so this seems inconsistent that you would agree with me. Second takeaway was that other Republicans also pushed back on Secretary Kennedy, including Senator John Barrasso from Wyoming, who is an orthopedic surgeon, and Tom Tillis from North Carolina. Kennedy was very combative, was one of the takeaways. In terms of the line of questioning from Cassidy about the Operation Warp Speed topic, Kennedy responded simply, is this a question, Senator Cassidy, or is this a speech that you don't want me to answer? One of the takeaways, they said, was Kennedy struggled to account for his promise on vaccine access. And what they're talking about there is that Bobby Kennedy, in his confirmation hearing, said that he would not do anything to take away or mandate that existing vaccines be eliminated or taken away. And yet you've got states like Florida who are trying to eliminate the vaccine mandates for children, period, like across the board, with the idea that parents are the ones that need to decide what goes into their children. And then the final takeaway in this particular story was, what are we watching for next? And it's the back and forth about what's going on at the CDC. Because the former CDC director, who was ousted after, a month, said in a Wall Street Journal op-ed last week that she was told by Kennedy to pre-approve the recommendations of a vaccine advisory committee to which Kennedy has recently appointed some vaccine skeptics. Kennedy flatly said, I did not say that to her, and she says, well, I'll testify to that under oath.
From the Venable Glass.
Wake up! Wake up! Rise and shine!
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross.
Nice early morning surprise.
On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Well, I used to wake the morning before the rules rooster crow, searching for soda bottles to get myself some dough. Run 'em down to the corner, down to the country store, cash 'em in and give my money to a man named Curtis Lowe.
Yep, did that so Kurt would play that dobro across his knee.
Book of White, one of my favorite dobro players of all time.
Man,
Sounds like a whole band when he plays.
I love that song. Ballad of Curtis Lowe. You can join the conversation on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. JT Mitchell going to join us in the next segment. So I gave you the takeaways from CNN from the HHS hearing, but allow me to let you hear one of the exchanges that happened during this. Not going to play the entire thing. It's a 5-minute clip, and who's got time to listen to 5 minutes of Elizabeth Warren? But this is part of what was going on, and make no mistake about it. The Democrats on this Senate Finance Committee hate Bobby Kennedy for a million reasons. They disagree with everything that he stands for. They think that he is a vaccine denier and a nut when it comes to health. They don't believe he is fit to be Secretary of HHS. They don't like the fact that he is revoking funding for entities that have been untouchable for a really, really long time. They are being pressured by their biggest donors, i.e. Big Pharma, to push back on Kennedy. Kennedy's own family has come out and said that he should resign for the good of the country, and Bobby Kennedy is not going anywhere. This was a bit of a back and forth between Elizabeth Warren and RFK Jr.
Let's clear this up right now, Secretary Kennedy. Will you tell America that all adults and all children over 6 months of age are eligible to get a COVID booster at their local pharmacy today?
Anybody can get the booster.
I'm sorry?
Anybody can get it, Senator.
Anybody. So you're saying that is now the official rule of HHS. Anybody is eligible to get a booster by just walking into the pharmacy.
It's not recommended for healthy people.
No. If you don't recommend, then the consequence of that in many states is that you can't walk into a pharmacy and get one. It means insurance companies don't have to cover the $200 or so cost. As Senator Dr. Cassidy said, you are effectively denying people vaccines.
We're not going to recommend a product for which there's no clinical data for that indication. Is that what I should be doing?
What you should be doing is honoring your promise that you made when you were looking to get confirmed in this job.
You're going like this.
And that is, you promised that you would not take away vaccines from anyone who wanted them. You just changed the classification of the COVID vaccine.
I'm not taking them away from people, Senator.
It takes it away if you can't get it from your pharmacist.
Well, most Americans are going to be able to get it from their pharmacy for free. Most Americans will be able to get it from their pharmacy for free.
The question is, everyone who wants it, that was your promise.
No, I didn't. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
When you said...
And I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies, Senator.
Did you hope...
All right, so we'll stop there. But that's about how the entire hearing went with different senators. So Elizabeth Warren is looking for a gotcha. You promised us. She promised us
she was an Indian. So.
And he's saying, I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies. And again, the moment when Bernie Sanders was like, everybody in this room is taking money from pharmaceutical companies, from Big Pharma. It's an interesting debate, though. Like if you strip the politics away from it, which I know you can't because we can't strip the politics away from anything, but it is a fascinating debate. I give huge credit to Bobby Kennedy saying, no, we're not going to recommend for the American people that they should take a vaccine that we don't have sufficient clinical trials to say this is healthy. We all know that there are thousands and thousands of cases of people whose health is worse today than it was 5 years ago who took COVID vaccines. That's not the case for everybody. Yeah, right. I mean, I think that, other than the fact that I'm a little heavier than I was 5 years ago, I don't think my health has changed.
Well, let's hope not.
I took the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine. I don't remember which one I took. I think I've still got that card stuffed away in my wallet somewhere.
Isn't it a question of whether the government should get into mandating and recommending, or should a doctor be involved there?
You're right. You're right.
And
Bobby
Warren,
Kennedy says that, hey, people are going to be able to get it if they still want it, but we're not just going to recommend it. And she's like, no, but the question is, can they get it easily? Can everybody get it? Well, you can't just go to a pharmacy. Or at least I've never seen a scenario where you can take your kids to a pharmacy and get all of their vaccines at one time from your local pharmacist or your big box pharmacist. You got to go to the doctor for that. So the fascinating thing is tying this together with what's going on in Florida and the role that the president plays in this as well. Donald Trump said on Friday that Florida officials are taking a tough stance by moving to eliminate all vaccine mandates for students, and he stated that some vaccines should be used. Here was a quote from the president. I think we have to be very careful. You have some vaccines that are so amazing. The polio vaccine, I happen to think, is amazing. You have some vaccines that are so incredible, and I think you have to be very careful when you say that some people don't have to be vaccinated. It's a very tough position. It's a tough stance. Now, on Wednesday of last week, in conjunction with the governor, the Surgeon General of Florida, Joseph Ladapo, announced the move to eliminate all vaccine mandates in the state of Florida, even went so far as to compare vaccine requirements to slavery. Ladapo said all of them, every last one of them, is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Said vaccine mandates are wrong and are immoral. Said the Florida Department of Health would repeal mandates under his authority, while the state legislature would need to address the others. Florida has requested students going to school to receive, has required students going to school to receive vaccinations for polio, diphtheria, measles, rubella, pertussis, mumps, tetanus, and other communicable diseases, though parents could request exemptions based on religious grounds in the past. Every United States state and Washington, D.C. currently requires vaccine for children to attend school. There has been a decline in vaccinations among children in recent years.
Let me say one. Can I say one thing? America seems to be the only country on the planet now that is still worried about COVID. And you can go look. There's plenty of data out there. Like, nobody's reporting anything ever, anywhere.
I don't know that there's much worry about it here anymore.
Well, but you're just having a debate with a senator and Kennedy over COVID, making vaccines available to everyone. Does somebody have a vested interest in ensuring that these are handed out like candy, or is this a legitimate debate? Because if you look at the big picture, nobody on the planet cares anymore, but she does.
Yeah, but to me, the debate that is far more interesting and far more important is the debate in Florida about whether or not we should rip away all vaccine mandates for children. That doesn't strike me as a great idea.
No. But that's Florida's problem. That's what Florida has to do.
No, I understand that, but if it becomes a problem in Florida's not far from Mississippi.
No, not at all. And I agree. Polio and many of the vaccines have proven extremely effective.
We have eradicated polio. We had basically eradicated measles, although we have had measles outbreaks that have popped back up.
You still
Lance,
same
you
with
had
TB.
this. I'm assuming, Lance, you had chicken pox as a kid?
I did, yeah.
I had chicken pox as a kid. I've still got a scar.
I got a few little scars still.
On the inside of my left calf that was from a scab that I knocked off when I had chicken pox as a kid. Guess what? I got 3 kids. None of them have had chicken pox. Mm-hmm. Like, we have basically gotten rid of chicken pox. Do we want to introduce all of those things back in? So that, to me, is a real and an important debate. I get the idea of let parents decide what's best for their kids. I feel like there's another debate where we have heard that regularly.
Yeah.
But we also can use some common sense. And, one of the things that, like, if you strip away all the hatred that exists for Donald Trump, most people can agree that he's been more of a common sense president. Not everything he does the right is in love with. Nothing that he does the left is in love with. But most of the decisions he makes are just kind of common sense decisions. Are we sure there's common sense with completely getting rid of vaccine mandates for newborns, for kids? I don't know. We're back with you right after this.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go. Now back to Mornings with Richard Cross.
now that's entertainment.
Glad to be with you on this Monday morning, the 8th of September. JT Mitchell joining us in studio. Hey, just a quick thought as we kind of wrap up the conversation from the previous segment about vaccines and that debate that's going on. Because some of you have said, do vaccines cause injury to children? Yes, therefore a parent should not be forced to vaccinate their child where there's some risk. I completely get it. I also think, we are over-medicated as a society, period. Like, a lot of the antibiotics that we rely on a daily basis don't work the way they used to work because they have been prescribed so much, so many times. And they have kind of lost their effectiveness, and an immunity is built up to them. To me, it's just a fascinating conversation. The idea that an entire state would say, nope, there are no mandates on children, and kind of what are you opening yourself up to, while also recognizing that there was, in that testimony in the House hearing the other day, you had one of the congressional, I'm not sure if it was a congressman or a senator, that pointed out that by the time a child is 18 years old, they have had 76 jabs, which feels like a lot by the time you're 18. All right, JT Mitchell joins us, SuperTalk Mississippi News Director. Good morning to you, sir.
Hey, Richard, how are you?
I'm good, man.
Vaccines
have a good weekend?
On a Monday morning, huh?
Yeah, well, that's some newsworthy stuff from Bobby Kennedy over the weekend.
Yeah, I did have a good weekend. I finally got some sleep. It was good. I heard you a little bit. Arkansas State.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? You tired?
I'm okay. Feeling good on a Monday morning.
That's good.
Significantly what's the word I'm looking for? Sufficiently caffeinated. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Me too. I had my pre-coffee before my work coffee, so I'm good.
There you go. No, it was last week and this coming weekend, both able to get home on Saturday night. So like a bonus night in my bed at home, which is nice. Back from Little Rock about 11:30 or so Saturday night, so not bad at all. That was fun environment, and what an environment they had in Starkville on Saturday night. We talked about that some in the 6 o'clock hour during our morning sports update. That's where I'm going to be this weekend for their game with Alcorn State. But huge football happenings all across the state this weekend.
Oh, man, it was a huge weekend, and you talk about how loud it was in Starkville. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching it on TV, and typically, as you know, you can hear the cowbells, but it sounded 3 times multiplied this weekend. I had to turn the TV down, just constant ring, and my sister and her family were there. They go to most of the home games, and she said it was one of the loudest home games she's ever been at. I don't think Arizona State could have prepared for that. And I went back and listened to the radio call yesterday for that game-winning touchdown when Chapin hit Brennan Thompson on the 58-yard pass, and I could barely hear Neil Price because of the cowbells. It was so loud there. And a huge win for State for a program that needed it arguably more than anyone else. They have had a rough patch here dating back to when Mike Leach passed away.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you're a fan of, it should make you smile.
It certainly made Mississippi State fans smile. And they had folks come on the field and the goalpost came down. Somebody corrected me earlier, said that the event staff actually immediately took the goalpost down. Perhaps so. Because when they came down, there weren't a ton of people that were on the field at that point, and I thought, man, that was really impressive how quickly they came down. So I had not seen that. But they were carried out of the stadium by fans, so I don't know.
I saw somebody on X, they said, how did Mississippi State get the goalposts down that quick? And somebody responded and said, we're an engineering school.
Well, that's as good a response as there is also, I suppose.
But it was a big weekend in college football. Of course, State won. Ole Miss won. Southern Miss got the first win under new head coach Charles Huff. Got that one out of the way. He's now a more winning coach than Ellis Johnson.
Saw that floating around on.
And then if you go down a division to D2, head coach Todd Cooley at Delta State, he's now the winningest coach in program history. I mean, big shout out to Coach Cooley. He got number 77 in the win column. They beat North Greenville. They didn't just beat North Greenville. They dominated North Greenville 41-7. And so Coach Cooley now has 77 wins to his name, and I'm sure that number will continue to grow.
There you go. So a 2-0 start for Delta State. They are in the Division II top 25. We pointed that out last week when we looked at the polls. So really cool stuff. I am told that it was event staff that actually carried the uprights out of the stadium.
So who got it down? Students?
No, the staff did.
Oh, okay. I wonder where that ended up.
I don't know, probably a closet underneath the stadium, which is not nearly as fun as like hauling it down Broadway and throwing it in the Cumberland River like they did in Nashville, but it's far more economical.
It is, but you don't think any students got a piece and have it hanging over the mantle of their fraternity or whatever?
Yeah, I'm not sure that it worked out that way. I suppose we can get more information on that. Maybe Sports Talk Mississippi will have all the investigative coverage for you this afternoon. So last week was an eventful week for a race that is now, what are we in September? So we're 14 months away from Election Day for Senate midterms. We know Cindy Hyde-Smith is running for re-election to her sitting seat. We know Ty Pinkins is in that race and is an independent. And last week we found out that Scott Colomb, the Lowndes County District Attorney, was entering the race, and he did so with a little bit of fanfare. There was quite a bit of activity on social media, and some of that got some pretty significant pushback. We covered that story on Thursday, maybe before anybody else really even kind of realized what had happened, and we played the entire clip from X. And I offered two pieces of advice, unsolicited, to Scott Colomb. I said if he had already hired staff and they advised him to do that, fire them immediately. And if he had not yet hired staff to advise him in his campaign against Cindy Hyde-Smith, then he better hire some immediately. Because what a colossal screw-up right out of the gate.
Well, first off, we are 7 months away from primaries.
Okay.
So the 2026 U.S. Senate race will get here before we know it.
Mm-hmm.
And can I play devil's advocate for a minute about the Post?
By all means.
Okay. So this is not me speaking. This is a journalist who has thought through every side of this because, let's be honest, it was a bizarre post. Have you ever seen anything like that in all of your years of covering this stuff?
No, I haven't. And I think I was abundantly clear when we talked about it that clearly was not Cindy Hyde-Smith's voice. And I had someone from Hyde-Smith's campaign reach out and say, hey, just wanted to clarify that she never received a call. And so we got that message and we kind of reiterated it. I thought that was pretty clear from the outset.
Yeah, I mean, it maybe a little bit sounded like her, but just to dot our I's and cross our T's, the newsroom reached out to make sure that it wasn't her and said, hey, if you want to interview, we got you covered. And they sent a statement and all that good stuff. But going back, I've been thinking about this a lot. I think you are right when it comes to your unsolicited advice. On the other side of the coin, I've been thinking about what it takes for a statewide Democrat not named Jim Hood to win. Okay? I've come up with a recipe that includes 3 different items. Number 1, you have to have significant above and beyond name ID. Number 2, you have to get a huge portion of that middle ground moderate vote. You cannot win in this state unless you have the moderate Republicans come out in your favor. I think that's 100% true. And then number 3, you have to get people who have never voted to go register and go vote. And a lot of times that includes the younger population. Now, that video of Scott Colomb, I think it was posted maybe like a politician in another state when it comes to different TikTok trends. We've never seen something like this in Mississippi. I imagine that videos like this have been posted by politicians in other states. You know, he did confirm that it wasn't Senator Hyde-Smith. It was just satirical, whatever. She said it wasn't her as well. I don't know if this was a TikTok trend to try to, number 1, grow that name ID, and then number 3 on my list, to get to the younger population through TikTok or social media, or whatever it was. It has people talking. We're talking about it right now. So I've been thinking about it a lot. I can't explain it, but that's my best explanation.
Yeah, but the problem with your TikTok theory is it wasn't funny.
Well, I don't have TikTok, and I saw it on Facebook.
No, but I mean, stuff that goes viral, it's like genuinely funny. I mean, maybe it's silly, maybe it creates a life of its own, but it's got to be witty or funny or like grab your attention, and that was just like kind of cringeworthy.
Right.
Not kind of cringeworthy.
And so I'm just outlining what maybe his team was thinking. Maybe they're like, hey, if we go along with this trend, we can get some younger people to be like, hey, I saw Scott Colomb on TikTok. I need to go vote for him.
All right. We'll see. You're banking on those voter registrations that you strive for all the time.
I didn't say I'm banking on anything.
Book Festival coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that next.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Time to switch on. Mornings with Richard Cross. On Super Talk, Mississippi.
Yeah!
Past 3 hours with you on this Monday morning, the 8th of September. JT Mitchell, news director with the SuperTalk Mississippi news team. We remind you to be sure to check in often at supertalk.fm to keep up with all the news that is happening in the state of Mississippi. And I'm sure that at some point this week there's going to be a story that is previewing in detail the Mississippi Book Festival, which is happening this Saturday in our state's capital.
Yeah, later this morning. It should be out here, I would guess, by about 11 a.m.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite events every single year that happens in this state. This Saturday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., the Mississippi Book Festival will take place on the grounds of the state capitol, as well as inside Galloway Methodist Church. It's free, F-R-E-E, to get in. You don't have to pay unless you want a bite to eat or something to drink. Over 86 panelists will be there. You'll have Authors Alley with all of your local authors as well. Tons of good panels on the agenda I'm looking at right now.
Hey, can you buy the Pocket Grammar Guide this weekend?
You know, I believe it's the first time in 4 years that I will not be on Authors Alley. I'm taking the year off, and I'm going.
You're going to have to write a new book, so they want you back.
I'm going to enjoy it as a visitor, because it is fun being on Authors Alley. Don't get me wrong, but you can't really enjoy all the panels because you're there at your table all day long. And the book festival has been really good to me. It's been really good to us. It's one of our highest sale days of the year. But I can't wait to go as just the reader that I am. And so lots of good panels, one of which will be the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. And one of our colleagues, Ricky Matthews, will be the moderator of that. It will include Governor Haley Barbour, Jim Barksdale, Dr. Mark Keenum from Mississippi State, and Mississippi Speaker Pro Tem Manley Barton. It will also be televised on C-SPAN. That one will be, looking back at the 20 years.
What time is that happening?
That panel is going to be at 10:45 a.m., and it will be at the state capitol. And, the panels, they kick off pretty much immediately. You have a 9 a.m. opening ceremony, and the first panel is 9:30, and the panels go all the way to 4 p.m.
All right, so I got good news.
Okay.
Because I was not aware until, a couple of months ago that this was such a big deal in Mississippi. And my first thought was, whoa, you're doing this on a Saturday in football season? Well, the football schedule makers have smiled down on the Mississippi Book Festival this year. In Hattiesburg, Appalachian State and Southern Miss kick off at 6 p.m. In Starkville, Mississippi State and Alcorn State kick off at 5 p.m., and in Oxford, Ole Miss and Arkansas kick off at 6 p.m. So, if you are a book lover and a football lover, there is time for both. You can be there until lunchtime or so and still have time to get to Hattiesburg, Oxford, or Starkville and get the best of both worlds.
And
Crisis
JSU
averted.
Crisis averted. JSU's at 2 p.m., so all my JSU fans out there, go in the morning, then go over to the vet.
That's a shorter drive. That's why I didn't include them. I mean, you can go before and after if you want.
You mention, man, is it insane to have the Mississippi Book Festival on a Saturday in football season? Well, this is the second year that it's been this late. It used to be in August before football even got ramped up. And Richard, I'll tell you what.
726 degrees.
That's right, if not hotter. It is so hot out there at that point. Last year, when they moved it into December, an automatic 10 degrees was taken off. And, in Mississippi, if it's 85 to 90, we're living in heaven. So it's going to be a great weekend. Come on out to the state capitol for the Mississippi Book Festival. It should be a lot of fun. Of course, there's food, drink, books, panels. There's workshops if you're an aspiring writer out there, whether it be short stories, fiction, whatever. Even if you don't love books, there's live music. There's lots of good conversation. It gets me fired up. So come on out.
The governor's tweet the other day, where he was talking about the National Guard going to Washington, D.C. I thought that was there was a lot there. There was a lot there. He took some shots. He was a little sarcastic. He talked down a little bit, and then he also gave a great amount of information. Any pushback that you've heard?
Not much pushback. The people that say the National Guard need to be in Jackson don't know the numbers. They don't know what the numbers look like since Capitol Police have come in, since JPD has worked coincidingly with them. All these people that throw out the term murder capital of America. In 2021, Jackson, Mississippi was. In 2025, homicides are down 45%. As the governor said, what they've been doing is working. The National Guard does not need to be in Jackson at this point. Words from Governor Tate Reeves, not me.
More work to do. Admitted that as well, but great progress. JT Mitchell, thank you. Check him out online, supertalk.fm. Click on the news tab. For Lance, I'm Richard. Have a great Monday.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.